tips, tricks, pros, cons of the Pocket 3. Hey, thanks for joining me, and either welcome back to the channel or welcome to the channel. It's been a while since I made a new video, but if you've watched my channel at all, you know how much I love the Pocket cameras. I've had it since the beginning, the original Pocket, the Osmo Pocket. Fantastic camera, upgraded to the Pocket 2, and then right when this one came out, the Pocket 3, I upgraded right away. I use it in all kinds of situations. Family stuff, I also use it for work. I use it for my YouTube channel. I use it for my professional video work. I use it for a whole bunch of things, and I absolutely love this camera. And this newest version is easily the best. But let's get into some of the tips and tricks with this camera. I'm gonna go over some pros and cons. One really big con I find really frustrating. I'm gonna talk about that a little bit later. But first, let's talk about the latest firmware update for this camera. The good thing about DJI is that they update the firmware fairly frequently, which is great. Sure, we'd like to do it a little bit more often, but that's okay. I think the latest one has a couple big things. For me, the biggest is the fact that it's kind of got like a 40 mil lens where it zooms in your shot so you can get a tighter shot. I like the idea of that. I think it's great. It means that DJI is listening to the users of this camera and deciding, well, this is something that they want. And they've done some kind of magic here, because if you look at the footage, you can actually look at it and it looks pretty decent when you're zoomed in like that. Normally on a digital zoom, you're gonna get some artifacts, some kind of pixelation, anything going on in your video that's not great. And to be honest, that's why I really don't use any kind of digital zoom on any camera really, because it just, affects the video quality, and why would I want to do that? However, I'm not sure what kind of magic their engineers did, but the footage actually looks pretty decent. They've done something here in the processing with their sensor that makes the footage look a little bit better. Now, for me personally, I probably won't use it a lot. I don't like the idea of doing that. I like the way it's set up now. The focal length is decent for me. I find it not too far, not too close. 20 mil is pretty decent, and it gets the job done. It's on a gimbal, so you're moving around a lot. I find anything on a gimbal, I want a wider lens, and 20 mil is pretty decent for that. So that's a great thing, and people will use that, fantastic. I won't use it, but the fact that they did that, great, awesome. The other thing is the webcam ability. They keep upgrading the webcam and making it a little bit better. I personally don't really use it as a webcam, but I have tried it out since the firmware up there, and it's pretty cool. I actually like the idea. The image quality is pretty decent, very simple to use, small form factor. All these things are great when it comes to a webcam, and having the camera that you already have, just hook it up. Very simple with the USB-C, and you're good to go on your computer. I think that's great. And again, that's something that they've listened to their users and their customers, that this is something that they want, and they did that. So good on them for doing that. Now, the next tip I have, you might know this already, but involves the DJI Mic Mini. I just picked this up for my birthday, which was just recently. Thanks for wishing me a happy birthday, by the way. I really appreciate it. No one wished me a happy birthday. I didn't have a video. It's okay. It's okay. Anyways, the DJI Mic Mini, I actually love this thing. I have a whole mic system, wireless mic system, a bunch of them. I never actually got the Creator Combo because I didn't need the DJI Mic 2 or the original DJI mic. DJI Mic 2 was fantastic. The fact that it has float, you can record right into the little device, awesome. Love it. The fact that it works perfectly with the camera, awesome. But when they came out with the DJI Mic Mini, it was a game changer for me, and I'll have a video on this by itself. Now, I didn't buy it right away because I wasn't 100% sure about the quality. When you're buying smaller mics like this, and they're all over the market now, tons of companies coming out with small mics to compete with this. Not as small as the Mic Mini that I've noticed, but small ones. And the quality's been awesome on this. I'm really impressed. But one of my favorite things is that you can kind of hide the microphone. Here's my microphone right there. Now, I'm old school, and I do not like to wear a big microphone attached to my clothes or my hat or anything. I'm just old and crusty, and that's the way I am. I'm trying to change. It's coming, but I'm old and crusty, and I'm set in my way. So I don't like to see it. If you have a lav mic on, yeah, I can live with that. But this thing here is small enough that you can put on. I have the dead cat, the black dead cat on it now, which makes it a little bit more obvious. But for me, it's one of those things that's magnetic. You clip it on your clothes, you're good to go. And I think that's awesome. So anyways, my tip isn't about the mic mini, but it works so well with the DJI Pocket 3, the DJI Osmo Action 5, which I also picked up. That was also for Christmas. Christmas and birthdays were good for me this year. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, so it works really well with those two, seamless, and that's awesome. And I think that's what gives you the advantage. There's been people that contacted me saying, hey, which mic should I get? Should I get the Rode? Should I get this? And I said, depends on what you have. If you already have DJI products, go for the DJI. They'll work seamless, and that's what you want. Right now, I'm recording on my Sony a6400, and I have the wireless setup there, no problem. But when I'm recording on my pocket camera or the action camera, I don't even need the receiver. All I need is to hook up the mic, and it works seamlessly, and that's fantastic. Anyways, that was long-winded. My tip is recording with your microphone. Now, this is really, really good. There's lots of times where I'm filming stuff. I do a lot of outdoor adventure stuff. So there's times where I'm in a canoe and the camera is farther away or something like that, and I need to record. And I can't get over there and record. And of course, I didn't think about this ahead of time because I'm not the brightest, you know what I mean? So I'm like, well, what am I gonna do? This is perfect for me because now I can just press the link button and it automatically records on the pocket camera or my action camera. That is amazing. The fact that they've added that, not so like an afterthought, but to help the users is incredible. And I will use that all the time. And it's very simple. Make sure your mic is set up on your device and you just hit it. You can see you're recording right away. Then you get good audio. You make sure you're recording. It triggers the recording. I mean, what more can you ask for? That for me is a very, very good feature. And I'm really, really glad that they have that on the Mic Mini and the Pocket 3. So sticking with audio, which is so important. I teach a cinematography class at college, and I tell them at the beginning of the year, you're gonna love this course, but at some point, your audio is gonna be crap. And you're gonna be so pissed off because you didn't put enough time and effort into your audio. Sure enough, that just happened with a short film. It happens all the time. We take audio for granted, but on this little camera, the original audio, the Osmo Pocket, audio coming straight from the camera wasn't great. Got a lot better with the 2, even better with the 3, but when you have a wireless setup, it's even better. It makes it sound better, and that's awesome. Now, one of the great things I like about this camera, it gives you the option of recording to a wireless setup, DJI or whatever else you want to set up. But with the DJI Mic Mini, you can set it up, record, no problem. But you can also record on the camera, the Pocket 3, just in case you have some issues with your audio on your wireless, and you will have issues at some point with your wireless. I guarantee you it just happens. The batteries die, interference, you name it, something will happen. So if you have that audio as a backup recording on the camera, absolutely fantastic. And I actually find the audio pretty decent. If you're vlogging and you're close enough, it's pretty decent. I use it all the time for my outdoor adventure stuff, my camping stuff, simply because it's easy. I don't need to set up all this extra gear. It just does it for you. So the fact that you can go into your settings and record straight into the camera while also recording into your wireless, I think that's an awesome feature. And it's, again, it's something that they listen to their clients or listen to their customers, and they brought it to the camera. And that's another reason it makes this camera so great. So now let's talk about focus. Focus is so important on any camera, whether you're using a phone, a cinematic camera, no matter what. It's so important. On the DJI Pocket 3, you got 3 different versions. You have the product one, which I think is pretty cool. I like the idea of that. And I think it's a useful feature that some people will buy this just for that, which is great because people that like to hold things up to the camera, it's great. It does a great job with that. You also have the single focus, which is very valuable. Not enough people use it. I use it a lot when I have foreground and background kind of things where I'm trying to get the shot in where I want something out of focus, and then I move, because it's a nice smooth gimbal, into the shot, and it gives you some really, really cool shots. I do that with a full-size gimbal, but it's so easy with the Pocket 3. So the fact that you have single focus on it is really good. And if you don't use it, I suggest you go out and try it. You're gonna screw it up first couple of times, but once you get it, it's gonna look really, really awesome. It also has continuous focus, which a majority of people probably use. I use it a lot as well. It gives you everything in focus that's in front of the lens, which is great. My problem is I don't really like that breathing compensation. Now, the latest update is helping with that, and your focus has breathing compensation, which essentially means it goes from focus to out of focus a little bit faster or smoother, shall you say. It's not as abrupt and doesn't take as long. There's lots of good things about it, and a lot of more professional cameras have it. So I'm glad that DJI decided to put that into this camera when it comes to the focus, because it's great to use autofocus all the time. But again, even when you're using autofocus and you're focused on certain things, having that breathing compensation work for you is a really good feature, and it's great to have it on this small camera. Okay, so let's talk about your image quality and your color profiles. It might be a secret, I'm not 100% sure, but I almost 90% use the single, simple little color profile that comes with this camera. I absolutely love it. The colors look fantastic. I don't even often white balance. I use the auto white balance feature, unless I know my white balance is going to be a little bit weird, shooting at golden hour or something like that, then I'll adjust it, absolutely. But one of the great things is that you can shoot in log and you can color correct it as much as you want. And actually, if you do some research, it's very simple to get the 709 rec LUT and just put it on there and you're done. You can do some tweaking. Now, just because I use the color profile and it brings it in great, doesn't mean I don't adjust my stuff every now and then. I'll adjust it depending on what I'm filming, especially if I'm filming B-roll and like a beauty shot or anything like that, sunset or anything that I need to adjust a little bit. I'll go do that, especially the highlights, the shadows. I'll adjust it a little bit. But most of my stuff, especially for YouTube, I don't want to be going and color correcting everything. I know it could be simple as just putting a LUT down and copying. I get it, but it's just an extra step for me. And I find the color profile on the camera pretty decent. So I'll go ahead and use that. And if I have to tweak it a little bit, I will. Now I have used the log and it is pretty decent. I will say it's not the same as using a Sony or a Canon. It's just, I think, the smaller sensor, and I think the amount of adjustments you can make that's going to make your image that much better. I don't know how great that is, but it definitely does give you a better image if you film like that. It's just deciding whether you want to put that effort into it and how much time you have. And for me, the color profile works well. If I'm shooting something more important, yeah, I'll shoot in log, but I'm glad that that color profile is there and it does a decent job. We all use the Pocket 3 in different ways. Some people use it for travel videos. Some people use it for home family videos. Some people use it for sports. Some people use it for work. I use it for all of those things. For me, I'm a very minimalist when it comes to this camera. I don't like a lot of accessories weighing down the camera or having me remember to put these accessories on. I just don't like it. I like to put a simple variable ND on there if I'm filming outdoors and use that. Really, that's pretty much the most accessories I like to use, other than every now and then I like to put it on a tripod or a selfie stick. And this is a selfie stick that I got. This is a Ulanzi one, not sponsored. You can get any kind of selfie stick. For me, this is pretty good. It goes up to 6 feet and it does a decent job. Has the tripod backing at the bottom if you want to open it up, which here, wait for me. There, see, you can open it up. I didn't lie. Anyways, that's pretty decent. Be careful if you're going to use this tripod and you have it high up in the wind. You don't want that pocket camera to fall off. But anyways, this is a simple selfie stick. So it's another accessory that I will use, but it's very, very simple. And actually, I've used this to fake some drone shots. Whether you're in an area where you're not allowed to have a drone or it's a pain in the butt to get the drone out, I've used this to get a couple of unique shots from high angles, low angles, that kind of stuff. And I think the selfie stick, I know it's not a great name. We got to come up with a better name. Most people think of it in a bad way, a selfie stick, although it does the job. So that's all I really care about, but very, very simple. And I actually like the fact that this goes nice and high. So 6 feet, that's pretty far. That's a pretty good distance. But even when I'm vlogging, I like to just be able to hold it out in front of me, just by a couple of feet maybe. And it just gives me a little bit more of a nicer shot. I do like the focal length on this camera, but having it a little bit further out gets my shot a little bit wider. And I find when I'm walking, it's just a little bit more casual and holding that selfie stick. So again, I don't like a lot of accessories, but having a selfie stick that I bring around with me every now and then, throw it in my backpack. I don't use it that often, but having it there just in case I want to use it is a really good feature. So if you haven't tried one, try one. You can do it with a small tripod, which I've done before, but this extends a little bit further and does a great job. And this wasn't expensive, so yeah, selfie stick. Sorry, I had to stop recording. I lost the light in the background. This is the problem when you don't have a dedicated set to film some stuff. Do you guys, if you film videos, do you have a dedicated set? it must be sweet. I don't, this is just my, my desk at home that I have to set up every now and then so that I can do some of these videos. So yeah, it'd be great to have a dedicated set, but I don't. So moving on. Hopefully the light in the background will stay. If not, I'm just gonna move on. Let's just keep going. So I talked about some tips and tricks, and I mentioned I was gonna talk about pros and cons. So for me, I absolutely love this camera. It's easily the most fun camera I have to use, and that says a lot. If you have this camera already, I think you kind of know that this is a fun camera to have. If you're thinking about buying this, trust me, this is a fun camera to have. It's not that expensive, it's small, it's lightweight. Look, there's lots of great things going on with this camera. It might not be the best quality, right? Compared to the other cameras, the larger Canons or Sonys or cinematic cameras, but that's okay. It does a great job, and the quality is pretty decent depending on what you're using this for. If you're using it for broadcast, yeah, I get it. You might not want to use this for that, although I have used this in national broadcast stuff for some B-roll and stuff, and it works great. Especially outdoors and full sun, full light, awesome. So it's a lot of fun to use, and let's face it, that's a big difference. For me, if I have two cameras and I'm deciding which one to grab right away, because it's a small form factor, I'll grab the Pocket camera and I'll get it out and I'll film with it, and I absolutely love it. And that's a big pro. And I think you will all agree, if you have this camera and you like it, that it's a super fun camera to use. The other thing you hear all the time when it comes to this camera is, why don't you just shoot with your phone? Shoot with your iPhone, shoot with a Google phone. And sure, you can do that, but it's not the same. And I know those phones and those cameras and those phones have come a long way. They're fantastic. Some people film all their content on there, and that's great. Good for you. For me, I love having a separate camera to film this stuff. I use my phone all the time for research or taking a call or doing anything. If I'm out filming a camping video, I don't want to have that phone out there. I just put it away, knowing that I can use it for GPS or anything else. I can use it with my other GPS satellite. Fantastic. It's there. I don't want to lose it. I don't want to damage it, but I have my camera. I have my DJI. I can go film some stuff. I know I'm going to get great quality. And let's face it, the DJI gimbal, the mechanical gimbal on this, is awesome. I'm not sure what kind of voodoo engineering they've done with this thing, but it's fantastic. And I think that makes a big difference. And that's what sets it apart. Some other things as well from using a phone or another simple camera like that. And I know it's a touchy subject with people, whether you use the phone or the Pocket 3, but for me, it's a no-brainer. I will always bring the Pocket 3 and use it. If I'm just filming some simple stuff and I have my phone out, great, awesome. But I go somewhere with the idea of filming some stuff, I'll bring the Pocket 3 so I can film it, and I know how to use it properly, and I know I'm gonna get good footage. Now, there are a lot of other pros about this camera, and I can do a whole video on that. Actually, I think I did a video on that. Anyways, there's tons of videos about all the pros. Anyways, you just need to know I absolutely love using this camera because they keep updating the features, and I think that's great. I know after the Pocket 2, I wasn't 100% sure they were going to come out with an updated version of this camera, and they did, and it's become so popular that I think the Pocket 4 is definitely going to be coming out, and I'm excited to see what happens with that. Now, there was a massive upgrade between the 2 and the 3, especially with that screen, and that's great. So I'm excited to see what happens with the potential of a Pocket 4. But overall, I think most people that have used this camera are very happy. And you know what? It's been selling like hotcakes. I always hear that term. I don't really know what that means. I think it's pancakes. Is it hotcakes, pancakes? I like pancakes. Maple syrup. Canadian maple syrup on them. Anyways, where was I going? Anyways, lots of pros with this, and I don't want to get into all those details, but lots of pros. I absolutely love it. There are some cons with it, to be honest, not really big cons, and they're probably just with me because I'm an old fart, but I don't like certain things about the camera. Maybe the smallest one is this little adapter. This little adapter, essentially, you hook onto the bottom here, make sure you do it properly, make sure it's clicked in, and now you have a tripod mount over here, which is great. I use the tripod mount all the time. The selfie stick or with my mini tripod, great. And it also gives you a little bit more of a grip, which I don't need because I got tiny little hands. The rest of me is good, but I got tiny little hands, so I don't necessarily need that. And for me, I really wish they would have just somehow put the tripod mount on the camera itself, so I didn't need this little device. Sure, you can charge with this and plug this in. That's great. But it's just an added little thing. And I have a little carrying case that I use that allows me to plug this in and I protect it that way. Great. Fantastic. But a lot of times I don't want to remember to bring this because I have forgotten to bring this. I just want to bring the camera. That's all I want. I want to bring the camera, pop in the camera onto the selfie stick or the tripod, and I'm good to go. But we don't have that. On the Pocket 2, you had a little piece of plastic that had it. And again, I would have preferred that it was a much smaller. Now, I know there are some accessories you can get that are smaller than this, but it's the same idea. You got to remember to have it. You got to remember to bring it. And Dave forgets stuff all the time. So I don't want to have to worry about that. Now comes the time where my biggest pet peeve, and again, this may be a Dave problem and not a you problem and not a DJI problem, but it comes to the SD card. Getting that little SD card in and out of the slot is an absolute nightmare for me. I have, well, I don't have long fingernails, and I don't really want long fingernails. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I just cut my fingernails and I can't get in there to bounce that little SD card. It's the most frustrating thing. I remember when the first couple times I was like, oh, I'll just get used to it. Or maybe the spring in it needs to be worked in a little bit. But no, it's always awful. And sometimes I use a tiny little screwdriver to do it, but I'm worried I'm gonna poke something or break something or press too hard and it's gonna break. And there's been times where I've actually used it and the SD card's flown out of the SD slot onto the floor. It actually hit me in the forehead once. I'm okay, thanks for asking. But it's weird. I don't understand why it's like that. And I would like to know from you, if you're watching this and you have this camera, is this a me problem? Am I the only one that has an issue with this SD card and popping it in and out? Is it just me? Maybe it's just me and I need to figure that out. I need to work on it and practice. I'm willing to do that. But so far, I've found it very, very frustrating. Again, I have an idea of getting it out with a little tiny screwdriver, but I don't like the idea of that because at some point I'm probably going to break it and I don't want to take a chance because I actually really, really like this. So that's for me is probably my biggest con of this camera. So I've taken up way too much of your time and I just wanted to talk about some tips, some tricks, some pros and cons and why I love using this camera so much. I think for me, this is one of the most fun cameras to use and I'll continue to use it all the time. I mentioned this before that I'm a professional television producer and videographer. And sometimes when I go out on shoots and I bring this with me, people look at me really funny. It's getting a lot better with the Pocket 3. I'm going to be honest. The older cameras, the Pocket 1, people thought it was absolutely insane using this in Pocket 2, same thing. But this has gotten popular enough that people know what it is now. People come up and like even some other videographers and stuff when I'm at a shoot and like, hey, you got the Pocket 3? Yeah, I got that too. And that's great. But they still judge me for using this tiny little camera because they're using their massive cinematic cameras or their big TV cameras. And they're judging me for using this little one. I don't care. I'm going to keep using this as long as I can. The image quality is decent. And I think if they keep improving it, that's awesome. If they just improve this a little bit, I'm going to be even happier. But I'm really, really happy with the way it is now. So let me know how you guys at home use this camera if you already have it. Do you use it for travel? Do you use it for family? Do you use it for business? Let me know. There's tons of different ways. And I'm just curious to know what people at home use this camera for because it's so versatile and it does such a great job. And I would really, really like to know your opinion and why you use this in certain situations and what situations you use this in. Okay, I've talked way too long. I apologize. Thank you for taking the time to watch my video. I appreciate it. And yeah, I'm excited. So summer is just around the corner, so I'm excited to get out and do some more filming. And I got the Action 5 that I'm gonna kick in the gear. So I'm pretty excited. Thanks DJI for these products. And yeah, thanks for watching and we will see you next time.